I've been watching anime new and old. I have a backlog that I'll probably never finish, and I've looked into 32 series for this current 2022 winter season. I'm at the point where I realize that it's a waste of time trying to watch this much seasonal anime. I think it's better for me to just look into the few that stand out. I have no reason to torture myself by forcing myself to watch that much trash like some other people do. Considering that I started working full-time overnights on top of all this, I should be careful about my health as well. I can't forget about having a life outside of anime, and neither can I forget that mom and dad aren't going to pay the bills forever. My approach was originally to just watch all the seasonal anime I can, good or bad. Good because there will be classics if I look hard enough, and bad so that I may have a better understanding of what the problem is with modern anime. What I have learned from doing this all last year and the beginning of this year is that I don't need to watch that much to accomplish this. I don't need to watch that much trash to get the point. What did I learn? I dropped the Kebi-chan, a fetish baiting, boring girls doing boring things anime. Requiem of the Road King, a still-frame disaster that rushes the story so fast it is all things considered a crime against humanity. Q, the worst offender of forcing endless amounts of generic tropes each episode with poor character development. Dolls Frontline, a reminder to never bother with gacha adaptations for many of the reasons I already said. Fantasia Sango, Realm of Legends, that can't even draw a proper fan service to keep people in with its generic formula of a terrible Monster of the Week episode. Romo Gerando, an anime that seemed so promising but tried to do too much and crashed and burned. She professed herself people of the wise man Kandeshi, another disgusting isekai for those that have bathroom fetishes, on top of one of the worst first episodes I ever saw. World of Laydale, a series that reminds me of the tsunami of generic, boring, and bland isekais that plague the catalog. Nanjala, with ugly character designs and nonsensical characters with nonsensical powers revolving around chewing gum. Tokyo 24-kun, a Coverworks or Overworks production that has such a messy and ridiculous sci-fi plot I just couldn't take any of it seriously, despite a big cast of somewhat likable characters. Tribe 9, a boring sports anime that rips off Evangelion and even uses Kawaro's voice actor to do it. One Reg Party, one of the biggest hosts, became one of the biggest disappointments eventually, with a special that offends me and how bad it is. Can I make your ears happy in 180 seconds or less? Yet another series with hollow and lifeless characters that uses over-sexualized ASMR to appeal to those that have fetishes and who are deplorable. Shadow House, a poorly made adaptation, once again, about Coverworks, that instead of being the great mystery it's supposed to be, instead is a boring show showing of little girls cleaning houses for 15 minutes. Kyokai Senki, a mecha series that, though it's 2D, ruins itself with lazy animation and cookie cutter characters. Tactile Destiny, one of the worst offenders that reminds us that everything gacha touches turns to sludge, with a boring story that pretended to be about music. Sakugan, a failed episodic series that failed to deliver in what it promised in the beginning, with mostly forgettable episodes that don't even matter or go anywhere. To Your Eternity, a cheap and repetitive series that preys on your emotions to make you think it's better than it is, just because you cried. Mushiko Tensei, a pedophile's dream series that has tainted the minds of the young by fooling them into thinking that great animation writes a great story, which it doesn't. Joran, the Princess of Snow and Blood, that doesn't even know what it wants to do, makes so many unnecessary plot twists, and sometimes it's too goofy for its own good. Mug Love Alternative, a trash adaptation of a beloved light novel that horrified the fans. Scarlet Nexus, a 24-episode game adaptation that got worse with almost each episode by introducing endless amounts of sci-fi plots and putting them together in a blender nonsensically. 86, a poorly made slideshow presentation with boring characters, many who get reduced to just being in the background, that later introduces an annoying little girl and takes the best character out of almost all of Season 2 to leave the rest of the cast for dead in front of the viewers. Blue Reflection Ray, an honest attempt that was exploited with poor production to just promote its game sequel. The Aquatop on White Sand, a boring and aimless show that ruined itself in the second quarter with annoying slave laboring. That's just what I found to be the worst offenders last year. Now look at my favorites. Almost everything there is from the 70s and 80s era. I'd rather just focus more on my backlog and pick up maybe 7 or 8 seasonal shows. Now I have enough sense to know that there was a lot of trash back then also, during those very old anime seasons where there was nowhere near as much anime as exists today. The problem today is that there is so much more out there now, especially so much more terrible anime. When the type of media expands itself to produce a lot more, the quality inevitably decreases. There is also that 70s and 80s anime being from its own time. It feels much more sincere. The writers knew much more about themselves and the world back then in that era of anime. Modern anime today feels like 99% trash. And yes, I know I haven't watched everything, but who will bother with that? I already consume an unhealthy amount. The only anime I can say I enjoyed last year is Sunny Boy, Megaton Kyo Musashi, Blood Love, Build Divide Code Black, Heike Monogatari, and Ah Taxi. I'll add in Test a Note for being a 10 out of 10, so bad it's good content. But that's it. And no one really cared about them at first anyways. So I learned my lesson. My main focus will be my backlog going forward after this season. I already picked what to watch next season for spring anyways. Thank you for listening.